tell you something that's hard and something that you're probably not going to want to hear, but just because you don't want to hear it, that doesn't mean it's true. What I want to tell you is that life is not a video game, and when your player dies, you get to start all over again, or however you accumulate things and you earn points or dollars or cash, you're able to buy a new skin, or you're able to get a better gun, or you're able whatever. It doesn't, man, life just doesn't work like that. Sometimes I get accused of being a motivational speaker. I'm not a motivational speaker. Listen, motivation is an emotion. Motivation is not going to last 5 minutes on the other side of hearing a great talk, because chances are, unless you have a didactic or eidetic memory, you're not going to be able to recite exactly word for word each thought, each idea, each concept, each whatever that you've heard. It just doesn't work that way. It may be the best talk you've ever heard in your life, but you're not going to be able to recite it. It's just not going to come out that way. Even if you're sitting there taking notes, and even if you're sitting there with like your phone open and the voice memo and you're recording, there's something about being in that moment of motivation, in that like place to where it like hits you or whatever. And listen, motivation is good, because as a person thinks, as a man thinks, so is he, or as a woman thinks, so is she. So yeah, man, like what you think about yourself, what you think about this world. Even, who was it? It was Einstein that said, one of the greatest decisions that you're ever going to make in your entire life is this: do you live in a kind world or a cruel world? Do you live in a kind world where you know you're going to be taken care of, you know you're going to be received, you know you're going to be loved, you know you're going to be encouraged, you know you're going to have all that? Or do you live in a cruel world where you're going to be bullied or picked on or kicked when you're down or whatever? So yeah, however you think about yourself, man, that's massive. But that isn't what gets you wherever it is that you... Motivation is not what holds a marriage together. Motivation is not what keeps a job. Motivation is not what gets a promotion. Motivation is not what works out or reconciles conflict in a relationship. That is not motivation. It's almost like going to the gym, man, and trying to build a muscle, right? You can be motivated. It's early January, and man, we're going to go to the gym. We're all going to get swole. We're going to drink our protein drinks, and before on the way to the gym, we're going to do the pre-workouts and all this kind of stuff. We're going to eat nothing but grilled fish and grilled chicken forever. And then what happens when the emotion wears off? What happens when the motivation fades? What do you do? What do you do when you're not seeing results as fast as you want to see results? What happens when a week goes by and whatever, you're studying like crazy, but you still bomb a test that you study for, or you're like really hoping to drop some pounds on the scale, but like a month goes by and you're the same weight at the end of the month as you were at the beginning of the month? Like what's going on? It's not about motivation. What I want to tell you is it is about grinding every day. It's about changing who you are. It's about changing the way that you think about yourself. It's about changing the way that you approach this world. It's about changing your own value of yourself. It's about changing your value system of others. It's about changing the way, the fact that you show up. Do you show up to serve, or do you show up to take? Like, for you, what are automatic tendencies? And man, that's what you got to figure out. It's about changing mindsets. It's about changing lifestyles. It's about changing habits. It's about change. See, I think what attracts us to motivation is like we see deficiencies, or we see inadequacies, or we see insufficiencies within ourselves, and we think, hey man, I want six-pack abs. Now I don't have that. Or man, I want $1 million and I'm coming from poverty. It's like, man, I want to be motivated, and I'm going to be motivated to go make my money, and I'm going to be motivated to go get six-pack abs. It's not motivation. It's not motivation that gets you there. You've probably heard the story from Eric Thomas about the guy who met an old gentleman at the beach, and it was his guru, and the guru met him at the beach. It was like 5 a.m. and they started walking out in the water, and the guy's like, the young guy who's like, you know, like wanting to learn from the guru holds the dude underwater, and the guy finally comes up and he's like, man, what are you doing? Like, because he's fighting against the guru to get out from under the water, and the guru's like, until you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, you're not going to succeed. And it's not motivation. It's about wanting to be that version of you that only you see. And man, you got to start in the basement. You've got to start in the gutter. For some of you, you're going to have to start from really nasty places. Some of you guys, you've experienced violence, you've experienced abuse, you've been taken advantage of. Some of you may have even been raped or something like that from even family members or who knows. And you're starting from an ugly place. But just because life in a moment deals you a bad hand, it doesn't mean give up. It doesn't mean throw in the chips. It doesn't mean there's no reason for hope. There's 100% reason for hope. I met a 19-year-old young lady a couple years ago who has 3 kids, 2 of which her dad is their dad. And her whole thing right now is she's going to finish high school, and what she's going to get from high school is she's going to learn to read and write. And she's going to go on and become and make something of herself. Man, that ain't motivation. That's more than motivation. That's drive. That's an inner wheel. That is something that no one on this planet can take away from you. And that's something that's not manufactured. It's in you. And you bring it out. And you become, and you go, and you be, and you do you, and don't listen to negative around you. So, like Einstein said, and here's my encouragement to you. How do you approach this world? Do you live in a kind world or a cruel world? And what's your response to the kindness or the cruelty? How much of it do you take ownership for? Until you learn to take ownership for 100% of everything in your life, I don't think you're supposed to take ownership for things that people did, like to you, like against you, like whatever. But everything else under your control, your grades, the way you drive, the attitude that you have, the disposition in which you carry yourself, the work ethic that you put in or don't, the amount of attention that you pay to study or don't. You know what I'm saying? Until you take ownership for everything, until you are ruthless with your ownership, and you are relentless in your pursuits, that's what it's about. It's not motivation.